On this episode of Carnage, it's time. We're going to make this happen. Turbo Taxi is running 10s. For those of you just joining us, 2 years ago we bought a taxi with the intention of running 10s on LPG. The car had 577,000 Ks and a rod knock, so we installed a new motor, added a turbo and got to work. Since then we've added 2 engines, a transmission, an axle and hit a tree. It has been a massive battle and the car has fought us every step of the way. But when we started, it ran 16.7 and had less than 200 horsepower at the tyres. Now it's run 11.0 and has over 550 horsepower at the rear. In the last 2 years, we've raced at 8 different drag strips and driven to every one of them. Last episode, the taxi reeled off the best launch of its lifetime and then broke. And at the time, I would have said it was a transmission for all money, but once we got it up on the hoist, we discovered the real culprit was an axle, which is an easy fix.
There's your problem.
So we're ready to race, it's ready to go. It is time to run 10s, finally. So a lot of cars here tonight. I don't think I'm going to get many runs with Turbo Taxi, so I've got to make the most of them. So this first run, we've got to pretty much make it happen. I'm seriously more nervous now than I have ever been in this car. Close. Here we are, Calder Park Raceway, and it is packed tonight. There are so many cars here, so we're not going to get a lot of runs, unfortunately. We've managed to make one pass already, and it was a good one, 11.16. So our second best pass ever. So hopefully we can go one better now and dip it into the 10s. So that's what we're hoping. Anyway, it looks like they're calling me forward for a pass, so I'm going to go run a 10-second pass. Catch you later. People. Hopefully all the marbles. So So we've managed to get 2 passes so far, an 11.16, which is awesome. That's our second fastest time ever. And then an 11.61. We put a little bit more power in the top end, thought it would top end a bit higher, but unfortunately it's gone backwards, and we suspect maybe the trans is going away. Don't know. We'll test that theory in a sec. So hopefully we'll get 1 more pass tonight. I don't know that it'll be a 10, but we will try our hardest. Hopefully everything goes right. I think this will be our last pass of the night. No point putting too much heat in the transmission and the tyres. Alright. Creepy forward. Handbrake on full.
Oh no!
11.33 is actually pretty good, but it was the highest RPM I've ever launched this car at. Launched it at 4,500 RPM, which is a lot for this car, that's for sure. This car, this converter, this trans, and it's starting to show, I think, because the trans is going away. I really believe that. So when we blew the axle last episode, because it was an axle, it wasn't transmission, we blew an axle and we thought it was a trans, so we bought a transmission. We haven't put it in yet, but I think we will now. So let's put the trans in this thing and then take it out again and run 10s. It has it in it. Ah. Last Friday we ran 11.16, 11.61 and 11.33 for an average of 11.36 across our 3 runs, which is the best average we've ever had at a racetrack. It wasn't a bad night, but still no 10-second pass. So what we're going to do is change the transmission out of this thing, because we're pretty sure the transmission is slipping and that's causing us some problems. So we bought a transmission when we thought we'd blown it up last time, and we broke an axle instead. So we've got a new beefy axle in there. Now we're going to put a new transmission in there and hopefully drive it up to Sydney for a Wednesday night meeting. And I'll always do well in Sydney, always run PBs. So hopefully we can take this thing up there with a new transmission and go 10s. Right. Ow, ow, hot. It's out. The long bar. Yeah, okay. Give it a little whip. That feels like separation to me. It's a bit front heavy. Alright. It's coming down a bit. Whoop, it's hanging up on something. What is it? Exhaust. We had some issues getting the converter out of the transmission, out of the old transmission, and what we'd found is the stator shaft on the transmission. This part of the shaft, that was burred over at the front. There'd been just some light contact. So what we've done is we've sent the converter back to TCE overnight, and they've gone through it, had a look, made sure it's all sweet, and it's been given a clean bill of health. They've done some clearancing inside, and they've put a new pump shaft on it. So we'll lube that up and we will slide it into our transmission. So converter into trans into car on the road. Let's get going. I think that's plenty for the moment. Rattle guns have their place, but you always want to check. So we got tail shaft, exhaust, starter motor, and converter bolts. Better do the converter bolts. That could be embarrassing. And we're back at this point. Little starter motor. Look at the size of it. So tiny, so cute. I whack that in, then it's tail shaft and exhaust. Fun. Ugh. Heavy duty tail shaft from Max Performance many moons ago. I was getting the exhaust done at Extracted Performance Exhaust, and Zane wandered in and said, "Oh, seen this taxi?" He said, "You after a tail shaft?" And I went, "Yeah." He's like, "I've got one made up down there, made up by accident. You can have it if you want." I'm like, "Beauty." It's been in the car ever since. Tappity tappity. Just tapping it in. Just tapping it in. Alrighty, look at that. It is in. Ugh. Beautiful. Let's whack some fluid in this thing. See if it runs. And 3, and 4, and 5. All right, looks like the job's done. Go take it for a test drive. So here we are, Sydney Dragway, and we're going to go 10s tonight. That is our promise, 10s or bust. Well, not bust, let's not bust anything, but 10s. We're definitely going to go 10s. So driven all the way up from Melbourne, got up here, drove straight to Rocket, bought a brand new set of drag radials. We're giving this thing every chance it can. I've been to Rooty Hill, I've climbed Mount Druitt, I have seen all the sights of Western Sydney, but now it's time to get serious, put on the long pants and go racing. got 3 runs. 1160 wasn't great, 1140 a bit better, and it looked like it was going the right way. Then I tried that hand shifting run, but I did sort of 3 runs back to back, and the trans really didn't like that. So brought up a trans overheat warning, so it's not happy. It's also making some weird noises underneath. I don't know if it's engine or trans. I'm kind of hoping it's trans, because trans still works. I hope it's not engine, because I've still got to drive this thing back to Melbourne. But yeah, we gambled, we lost. We are done for tonight. No 10s. No 10s. So last night, transmission had a bit of a noise. Yeah, I knew. And I thought, if I make it out of Sydney, I'll probably make it home. And we made it, well, 1.5 hours out of Sydney. So it was fine for the first hour and 15 minutes. I coming to the hotel that I pre-booked the day before, about 10 minutes from the hotel, it all went pear-shaped, and transmission is pretty much kaput. So anyway, someone's going to come rescue me from Sydney. I'm going to get this thing back up there, maybe get it up on the hoist, maybe fix it up there, or maybe just ship it home. We still haven't worked that out, but today is going to suck. Before I left the track last night, I had a good look underneath it. No fluid, nothing on the ground. So I thought we were pretty much good to go. It was making some weird noises, but somewhere along the way it has decided to evacuate the transmission. And I really can't get trans fluid into it because I don't have the right tools to get the fluid in. I can buy fluid, but I've got no way of getting it into the car. Why didn't they just put a dipstick on these things? I don't know. Anyway, all right, we'll sort it out. Hopefully I'll be back in Melbourne sometime tonight. I'm gonna have to fly home, I think. So here we are, finally back in Melbourne. It has been a massive day. Got to thank, well, he doesn't want to be thanked, but certainly got to thank someone for coming to pick me up. Now it's time to catch another taxi home. Bloody taxis. So it's no secret that we've had some problems with the transmission in Turbo Taxi over the life of this project. I mean, we've used wrecking yard transmissions and stock transmissions, and it's bit us on the arse several times. So now we're going to bite the bullet. We're here at Preston's Automatics, where these boys can build us a tough BTR, something that'll handle like 600 rear wheel kilowatt or more. Don't know if we need that much, but the taxi is a heavy car, so it will stress any transmission we put in it. But hopefully this thing will see us into the 10s. So it's 1 week later and we're back at Preston's Automatics picking up Turbo Taxi. Now Andrew's done all his work. He's created what he calls the banger transmission. So he's got this trans in a couple of different cars making like 600 rear wheel kilowatts. So it can handle all the grunt Turbo Taxi is making. But what we're going to do is we're going to take it home, just use it as my daily for a week or so, and then bring it back to Andrew. He wants to do some final adjustments, and then hopefully not too far down the track we can run this thing and go 10s. Finally. Well, here we are, Sydney Dragway with Turbo Taxi. It has a brand new transmission and it is as ready to race as it's ever gonna be. So this time, instead of driving up, we decided to tow it up, because last time we shagged the auto and it was a nightmare getting this thing back to Melbourne. So this time, for the first time, we've towed it out to the track, and hopefully that'll be a good omen for it. Hopefully we'll run 10s tonight. That is our plan. 10s tonight. So we just did our first pass of the night and it was no bueno. She was no good at all. Basically the problem is we're trying to Wi-Fi the boost into this thing at the moment because yeah, this pipe should be connected to the throttle body and it's not. So I will reconnect that and then we should have some boost and then we can get this thing off the line. I knew there was a problem when she wouldn't even do a burnout. That's pretty, yeah, embarrassing. So anyway, I'm gonna put this boost pipe back on. We'll go out, run 10s. I shouldn't say that, should I? I shouldn't say run 10s. Let's go out and make a pass. Ah! We are done. Turbo Taxi is kaput. Yep, it's hurt an engine, it's done a ring land or something. Certainly a piston is damaged in some respect. Hasn't put a rod out of the block, so thankfully for that. But we got to throw another engine in this and then we got to decide, do we put a built engine in it? Do we go E85? Do we go for 9s? Because if we go built engine and E85, that's the territory we're heading. Is 9s on E85 better than 10s on LPG? Who knows? But you'll see it all on a future episode of Carnage.